All right, we are back with more Watering the Soul, and we're on page 66. The truth is, most stories always begin with someone on the very cusp of being all they can be. Then a terrible thing happens, and their heart breaks a little more than it has before. So, this person, who is beautiful and worthy and deserves to be happy, is now lost, unsure, a little broken, and flawed. But what the ache could never take away is that this person deserves the chance to learn some more, be who they want to be, find out all the goals they can achieve, and all the beauty they can see. I like that one. I just don't want to see right through people. I want to see them for all the stardust they are and the capability they have inside. I want to remind them that they have a story that matters and is worth listening to. I want them to know that their truth is noticed and heard in everything they do. I like that one too. Yeah, try and be nice to people. There was once a time I swallowed words. I was too afraid to voice the little things I really felt, as though the silence was all I was worthy of. But when I discovered that life is about layers, and that it will always have many layers, I realized that perhaps having a voice and embracing the silence can work together. That even in all the quiet, my thoughts matter, just as much as they matter when there is noise. Somewhere in between the moment we met and the moment we left each other were thousands of moments of love. The first time we kissed, the first time I introduced you to my friends, the first time we shared all our secrets. So many moments stitching my entire being into yours. Now I spend all these moments trying to remember what that felt like. Anything to drown out the ache and the silence of you not being here. Oh. There is always that feeling in the back of her mind to be very far away, to be lost in the wilderness, chasing landscapes as beautiful as she, to be climbing mountains nobody would know, finding hidden places no other person would go, to be lost when everyone wants to be found, to steer from the spotlight, to go unnoticed, surrounded by silence. That's kind of a nice one too. And then one day I began to see the good in listening and the wonder in watching. For every winding road, a new adventure to have, and for every forsaken path, a new way to walk. I found intimacy in the silence, in understanding the delicacy of each breath the earth takes. And so now I ask you, do not look for me in the chaos, or in the broken thoughts and the blinding, prolonged sadness. I am no longer there. Find me where the sun kisses the horizon. Love me where the sky begins. There was a lonely cottage across the way, and one evening, in the middle of a raging storm, a young girl made her way to the steps. She knocked 3 times, waited, and knocked 3 times more. Before long, a shadow greeted her and stepped aside, opening the door. In the foyer, the shadow introduced itself as Silence, and with open arms told her not to be afraid, for it only wanted to talk. The shadow asked the girl why she so often thought such sad thoughts, why the quiet was all-consuming, unsettling, leaving her distraught. After a moment, the girl replied that in the quiet she felt most alone. In the quiet, she could never seem to find her way home. In return, the shadow surprised her by being kind. In its hands it produced a light. The shadow told the girl to take this light, and that when they parted, the light would sink deep within the girl's heart, for it is in the quiet that we each discover how important we are, how much we truly embody light. She was learning to love herself the long way around by waking up every morning with gratitude in her heart. Even if some mornings it felt like the sun was barely shining, she was learning to love her books piled high in the corner of her room and her bracelets scattered across her windowsill. She was learning to love listening to the rain every time it stormed, and the way she stirred her coffee 3 times before the first sip. She was learning that the birds singing in the afternoon and the sound of her wind chime calmed her in ways that steadied every beat of her heart. All the little intricate things from morning to night were all the things that made her who she was. And in the process of learning to love these things, she learned to love herself. I love wind chimes. They are definitely calming. Oh, we're on to a new chapter. Overcome your fear. It's easier to turn away from things we don't understand, to give up to the things that cause us frustration and confusion. But it is in these things we find pieces of ourselves. Becoming equal, loving ourselves and each other, starts in finding can't say that word. Familiarity. Oh my gosh. In the things that make us afraid. It's just one of those words that sometimes hard to say. I learned to love the most important parts of me because you did. All my fears, anxieties, quirks, and insecurities, I overcame the struggle because you held out your hand and offered to walk with me. Oh, I like that one. Sometimes it just takes somebody to hold out their hand. There's a space between where you have been, where you are now, and where you are headed. And in this space, you will become afraid. Afraid of all your past mistakes, afraid of every step you take today, and more so, afraid of all the steps you will take every day after. But it is in this space that you can truly grow. For the fear is simply part of the journey, and to walk the road is to walk alongside the fear. You are allowed to be afraid to fall in love with life, to fear excitement, adventure, making mistakes, weird things that bring you joy, and things that bring you pain. But you must take life in your hands anyway, for falling in love with life opens your heart to the greatest adventure you can live, finding yourself. There were so many moments when she would begin to speak and then retract, when she would reach out her hand but pull away, as though there were an invisible thread always holding her down, always stopping her from doing and saying the things she wanted to do and say. I wanted to remind her that she was capable of everything she wanted, that fear stopped her from living every day, but I knew she needed to learn this on her own. I knew that despite all the twists and turns in the road, she would find her way back home. It is because of fear that we choose to cling to the old memories rather than create new ones. It is within these old memories that we live, consumed with wanting to stay the same. For if nothing ever changes, perhaps we will always be safe. But this is not how life works. Change is constant, a forever river, an eternal sky. Our memories, our experiences, and our choices never stay the same. They are interwoven. Old memories die, and new ones are born. You can take an experience and let it ruin you, or you can take an experience, learn from it, let it become a second chance. That one was good too. Butterflies see colors that are invisible to us. I imagine hope to be like these colors. While we cannot often see it, and even if we are afraid, hope still exists, just like those colors. Oh, that was good too. We are afraid of the unknown. To step into a crowded room and bare your soul is like walking into a dark cave with no light and no way out. Your heart beats in a way that feels like you are an asteroid plummeting to the earth. You question your ability, your talent, and your very worth. Your mind spins like a record, and the number one song is, I can't do this. But you can. There is no other place for fear and the anxiety to go other than with you and into the crowded room. If you feel them, come to know them, embrace them, then they are no longer a threat. Instead, they become a part of you, always with you, but never defining you. So you learn to carry them with you and walk into the room anyways. That's a good one to end it on. All right, more next time.